When Starship's engine exploded, the glass shards that flew into Elon's eyes reminded him of the frosted window of that car dealership back in 1995. He collapsed onto the metal floor of the Texas desert hangar, the ringing in his ears replaced by his father Errol's screams from Pretoria. "You're weak." Amid the engineer's panicked scrambling, he traced the fuel leak with his fingers, the crimson RP-1 spreading across the floor like his mother May's tears. Kimball tried to pull his brother up. "We'll start over just like with Falcon 1. Elon staggered to his feet, his gaze fixed on the framed 2008 crisis newspaper clippings on the wall, Musk on the brink of bankruptcy. Now, in this dusty 2023 hangar, with Starship's wreckage before him, the same stench of failure lingered. A child's voice cut through. "Mr. Musk." At the hangar entrance stood a scrawny kid in an Austin Middle School t-shirt, clutching an aluminum foil-wrapped package. "My dad told me to check the fuel valve." Elon looked at the boy's trembling hands. Around his wrist was a plastic tag, eerily similar to the hospital birth bracelet his son Nevada once wore. "What's your name?" "Javier. My dad was the engineer injured in last month's test." Kimball unwrapped the package. Inside was an old notebook. Its pages were filled with Javier's father's handwriting. "Fuel pressure algorithm flawed. Valve overheats in stage 3. Elon's chest tightened. A week ago, one of the engineers had come to his office. It could cause an explosion, he'd warned, but Elon hadn't listened. Now, in Javier's eyes, he saw his own childhood, rejected, yet stubbornly hopeful. "Where's your father now?" Javier lowered his head. "In the hospital, but he doesn't know. You fired him." The hangar's cold metal walls seemed to morph into the empty hallways of Errol's house. Elon placed a hand on Javier's shoulder. "We need to go." The boy pulled a rusted key from his pocket. "I took it from my dad's desk. For you." Elon clenched the key in his palm. Engraved on it were the words, "Starship Prototype 7. In the silence of the hangar hours later, they sat at Eduardo's, Javier's father's, desk. The formulas in the notebook mirrored the Mars colony sketches on Elon's office wall. "I was wrong," he murmured, tracing the error in the fuel equation with his finger. Javier swayed in his father's chair. "He always said he was working for you." Kimball dropped the hospital report on the table. During Starship's first test, Eduardo was injured in a fuel valve explosion. After the accident, Elon had fired him for violating safety protocols. Broken ribs, but he can still work. When Elon saw the workplace accident stamp on the report, Errol's face flashed before his eyes. He pulled out his phone and dialed his father's number. 4 rings. Then that sharp voice. "So you failed again?" "The mistake was mine." Elon began, his voice soft enough to hear Javier's breathing. "A child gave me something you never did. Silence?" Then Errol's laugh. "Weakness." Elon looked at Javier. The boy was twisting his father's hospital bracelet between his fingers. "I won't become you," Elon whispered before hanging up. The next morning, he gathered the Starship team. As engineers pored over Eduardo's notebook, Elon pulled Javier aside. "Tell your father he's leading the protocol team." The boy's eyes widened. "But you..." "It's we now," Elon corrected. 3 weeks later, in the same hangar, Eduardo directed final checks on Starship, leaning on a crutch. Javier stood beside him, watching the data stream across green screens. Elon carried a letter in his pocket, one he'd written to his son Nevada. "To fix the world, you must first accept the broken pieces." When the countdown hit 0, the engines roared like a song this time. Starship ascended in a flawless arc, just like the rocket Javier had drawn in his notebook. As Eduardo's tears washed away the stains of the fuel leak, Elon felt something he hadn't since Nevada's birth: unafraid. A month later, in the same hangar, Javier stood giving a presentation to his class. "My dad and Mr. Musk proved that anyone can touch the stars." Elon, sitting in the back row, added a final line to the letter in his pocket. "Maybe not to Mars, but reaching a child's heart is its own kind of space voyage." Sunlight streaming through the hangar's roof illuminated Eduardo's signature on the new Starship prototype. The day after Starship's successful launch, the team gathered again in the Texas hangar. When Eduardo arrived, walking with a crutch, they greeted him with applause. Elon touched Javier's drawing on the wall. Now, the words "try again" headed the first page of the protocol manual. Eduardo stood among the engineers, voice trembling not from his broken ribs but from the weight of authority. "We'll write the new safety protocols together." Elon turned to Kimball. "Remember when we fell into the well on Dad's farm? You held the rope." Kimball smiled. "Now they hold it." Javier sat beside his father, reading Elon's letter to Nevada. "We must work so the cost of reaching the stars doesn't crush those on Earth." The boy drew a rocket in red pencil on the back and wrote, "Dad and I are ready." Elon handed Eduardo a hospital bracelet. "Couldn't find yours, but this was Nevada's from birth." Eduardo pocketed it. "I'll give it to Javier, so he knows both his fathers love him." That evening, as the hangar lights dimmed, Elon leaned against the prototype, studying Javier's rocket sketch. Kimball approached. Nevada called, said, "I learned to write." Elon showed his phony on the screen, Nevada's first handwritten word, "Dad." The next morning, a new sign hung at the entrance. Musk and Sons Aerospace Limited below it, in Javier's handwriting, was added. Sons optional. Eduardo, now safety chief, initiated the new engine test. As the countdown hit 0, Javier touched Elon's shoulder. "Will you come with us this time?" Amid the roar of ignition, Elon's gaze fixed on the Falcon 1 photo on the wall. No longer just a rocket, it now held 2 boys stealing buns at a Pretoria bus stop, a baby in a hospital bracelet, and a smiling father with broken ribs. "No," Elon said, ruffling Javier's hair. "My job is to watch you touch the stars from here." As Starship ascended, an unopened letter from Errol lay unnoticed by the door. "Weakness comes at a price." Elon tucked it beneath Eduardo's new safety protocols, not the weight of the past, but the responsibility of now. If you liked it, stay tuned for more stories, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an update. I'd love to know where you're watching from. Drop your location in the comments. For more stories, click on the video on your screen right now.